What factors do you consider when you're assessing a job offer?
What about overtime?
When people apply for jobs, we think of the boss, the employer makes the decision whether or not to hire. But this lesson pulls out the idea that there's also some evaluation, some decision making on the part of the employee. And so when you say, does it fit well with my family, Kathy, you mean?
Family schedule, family life, responsibilities.
It begins with just that question. What are the factors that we look at? And then it moves into considering two different job offers. One of them is a sales representative at a Foot Locker, and another one is a receptionist at a tax preparer's office.
What duties do you think would be required for each position?
The first activity is just to come up with as many different job responsibilities for each of those two jobs.
What do you do if a customer becomes confrontational?
And the question that we talked about as a group, after we shared those, what are some personal characteristics of people who might be good, who might excel, who might be comfortable in both of those two jobs? Can we unpack office assistant people skills a little bit?
Good communicator.
The next step was give them some details of the job. So what's the pay, what's the vacation time, various factors, and have them do some calculations.
7.5 hours.
Right, that's where the math comes into this activity.
So that's 10.
And so there's some processing.
84, 38.
They share them in groups, we share them all together, and this is all leading towards the final activity, which is writing an essay explaining your job choice. Which one of these two jobs, if you were choosing between them, would you pick? Students are asked to kind of think about all the different steps of this activity and put together, of those two jobs, this is the one I would choose, and these are the reasons why that's the best fit for me. The takeaways for students, there are many in this lesson. Certainly the idea of it's not just someone bestows a job upon you and you accept it, but that you have to evaluate, and that perhaps there's some negotiation that happens.
If the purpose of the job matches your values.
And also their strengths as individuals, their characteristics that make them who they are, that's a relevant thing to be thinking about when you're thinking about the positions that you're going to accept.
So for me, I would probably take the one with the commission because I love sports. And I think I would be able to do very well.
The other takeaway is there's actual mathematics. Students have to figure out number of hours and then total pay and think about percents, because the Foot Locker position is 10% commission.
And it's $89 per sneakers.
You're estimating, right? You're using that mathematical skill.
How did you get that number?
But you're also kind of taking into account yourself. Like, am I going to sell 50 shoes a week? There are all of these decision making, and I think that the messiness of that is a really important aspect of mathematics that students often don't get.
So you're going to sell 5 pairs of shoes in a 7.5-hour shift?
And it's really important because the math of all of our lives is messy. And so I think that this lesson is a really nice opportunity for that to come out. In addition to doing the calculations, it's also, you're writing an essay at the end where you're presenting evidence of mathematics, right? Because some of the reasons why you would choose are going to be mathematical in nature. Raise your hand if you would be the office assistant. I think students can also see a connection between education and what they're doing, and see that math can help me in choosing a job. There's a lot of wisdom in this room, there's a lot of experience in this room, there's a lot of instincts, and we want to kind of tap into that. At the training, what we did was we asked teachers, after we did it, to pull back and think about how they would bring it to their students, how they might adapt it.
I would get one F, realistic one F that they would qualify for.
That would get my students more invested. Right.
These lessons are flexible and they'll fit in a lot of different places.
I might start with talking about temperaments. What jobs fit my temperament?
These questions are out there and students have them, and so I think it's part of the impact we can have on their lives. Making those connections between education and what they're doing, and see that math can help me in choosing a job. But to see that these skills are not just because you have to do them to take the test, but they actually can help get me to this goal, which is a life that I have more power over to control my own destiny.
To expect people are going to come to me for this or that.